Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ramos and if it's the first time you are stopping by, I'm Nigeria designer based in Lagos, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm working with my basic body patterns, as you can see. So the first thing I did is mark my waist to the underbust line. My normal waist to the underbust line is 13.5 because it's a corset blouse. I'm going to minus half inches from it, so I use 13 inches. So I'm going to pull out a straight line and label it my underbust line. So after I'm done with that, I'm going to mark my shoulder to the waist front measurement. Mine is 17 inches, so I'm going to take it from the where you see me place my tape measurement. I'm going to place it from there and mark my 17 inches there. So after I'm done with that, the next thing is the optional. It's not compulsory. For me, I used to take my side measurement. So if you're a taller person, I will use 7.5. You can use 7.5. So if you are not taller, not that short, you can use 7.25. Or and if you're a you're a short person, you can use 7 inches from the side. So it's a optional, it's not compulsory, but I always do that in every cloth I'm making, and it only give a nice shape from the waist, especially if you are working with a gown, a straight pencil gown. Wow, the shape when something else. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to take my waist measurement. I've already minus 2 inches. My waist is 32 because it's a corset blouse. I've already minus 2 inches from my waist. So I use 13 inches. I divide 13 inches by 2, which gave me 7.5. So after I mark my 7.5 to take in my dart, I'm adding 1.5 inches. As you can see, my waist front basis body pattern is dartless. So to take in my dart, I had 1.5 inches to it. So I'm going to connect it to my two bust line. So after I connect it together, I'm going to divide my 1.5 inches and taking in on both sides of the dart. So the next thing I do is taking my dart length. So I use 11 cm. So if you pressure 11 cm into inches, that's about 4.25. So I'm going to use my set square now to connect it to the waist dart. So after I'm done marking it, I'm going to pick in my bust point. So my shoulder to my bust point is 10.5. I'm going to mark 10.5 from my shoulder to wherever it stops. So from there, I'm going to connect my shoulder dart leg to my waist dart leg together. So after I'm done with it, the next thing I'm doing now is to mark my round underbust. I always take my round underbust. So my round underbust is 30 inches. So if I divide 30 inches by 4, which is going to give me 7.5, I mark it. So I'm going to divide what we made into 2 and mark it on both sides. So after marking it, I'm going to use my set square to connect it to my waist. So after I connect it finish, I'm going to use my curve ruler to connect it to my bust points. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to mark my front neckline. So for my base of neckline, I come down by 6 inches. You can decide to come down more than that or not up to that. So from there, I come in by half inches. So after I'm done with it, I'm going to close my shoulder darts. After I'm done closing my shoulder darts, for my SP, I'm going to come in by 4 inches. So after I mark it, I'm going to use my curve filler to curve out my new neckline. And also connect it to my shoulder. After I'm done connecting this finish, the next thing I'm going to do now is tighten my armhole cuff. I'm always tightening whenever I'm working with a design that have a shoulder or sleeve. So for my shoulder that leg, I'm going to connect it to the chest line at the armhole cuff. So I'm going to tighten it with 1 cm. So I'm also connecting it to my shoulder that leg. So I'm going to closing it and reconnect my armhole cuff. So I'm going to reconnect it and clean the one that I have there before, because after you close, you take in that 1 cm, your armhole is not going to be equal again, going to give you the shape that, that was there before. So I'm going to reshape it and clean the old one. So after I'm done with it, the next thing I'm doing is from my neck point there, I'm going to come down like about 0.25 inches and blend it to my airspan. I always do this to avoid something like a pointing when I finish sewing my this thing only happen when I finish sewing my design. It always happens. So I feel something like that. I will like come it out a little from my neck point and blend it to shoulder point. After I'm done with it, I'm going to take my back length. So from the neck to your waist, mine is 15 inches. So don't forget the way we did at the front. So I'm going to come down from the side by 7 inches and connect it to the center back. After I'm done connecting it together, I'm going to mark my waist measurement for the back, which is 7.5. Don't forget that we divide our waist by 4 inches. So after I'm done marking it, I'm going to connect it my to my bust line. After I'm done connecting it, I'm going to mark my new back neckline. So from the neck of the neckline, I'm going to come down by 8 inches and use my curve ruler to connect it to the armhole. After I'm done rolling it out, I'm going to mark 4 inches. Don't forget that you take 4 inches for the shoulder for the front, so we are going to mark the same thing for the back also. So after marking it, I'm going to connect it to the 8 inches that we mark. After I'm done connecting it together, I'm going to tighten my shoulder at my back line. I always use this to avoid some excess at the back to make it very relaxed. So what I have to do now is to tighten it by 2 seam. So I'm going to tighten it by sewing on both sides and connect it to the armhole cuff. So I'm going to use my set square to connect it to the armhole cuff. So I'm going to close the dart there that I took there and use my paper tape to tape it together. So after you close the dart, you realize that your neckline is that you marked there is not straight again. So I'm going to use my set square now to make it straight and clean the line that was there before. So guys, we are done with the back. I'm going to move back to the front now because we have not finished with the front. So I wanted to have a like corset up at the front. So I place my cuff ruler from the half inches that I come in to the underbust and curve it out. So for the side, I'm going to come in by 2 inches and connect it to the underbust line to give me my corset shape. So after I'm done curving it, I'm going to open my shoulder dart. From the bust point there, I'm going to blend it to the shoulder dart. So you can see the way I placed my cuff ruler. From the bust point, you blended it because you want the cuff shape to be straight and smooth. So after I'm done with it, I'm going to close my shoulder dart back. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to close my waist dart because I don't want any pieces from the underbust to my to the normal length I'm wanting to use. I want the dartless bodice. So I'm going to close it using my paper tape. So after I close it, I'm going to reconnect the line together because after you close you realize that you don't have a straight line there again. So I'm going to cut it out. So after cutting it out, I'm going to cut it aside. So to extend your half length, you need your basic skirt pattern. So I'm going to use my paper tape to tape my basic skirt pattern to my half bodice pattern. So from the wrong side, I'm going to place my paper tape. As you can see the way I place it, and make sure that it's well smoothed when you are placing your paper tape. So I'm going to place my skirt pattern to the half bodice pattern. And my skirt pattern already has a stitches allowance at the side, but my bodice doesn't have a sewing allowance, so it's my normal measurement that was there on my basic body pattern. So for my waist, I'm going to connect this to the hip line. So same before, my bodice doesn't have a sewing allowance. So after I come it out from the waist line, I'm going to come down by 5 inches, depending on how you want to let how length to it. From 5 inches that I come down, I'm going to rule out this straight line. So for the side, I'm going to come up by 1.5 inches, create like a curve at the side. I use my curve filler to curve out the shape out. So after I'm done with it, I'm going to place the paper underneath it and tracing it out from the waistline to the hip line. Or you can decide to trace from the waistline to the 5 inches that comes up from the waistline. And do that also. So we do this because we don't want to cut out some sketch pattern so that we can use it. So I'm going to tracing it out from the waistline to the hip line, so for the 5 inches that will come up from the waistline. Basically just trace out all the lines that you see there. So after I'm tracing it out finished, I'm going to remove the paper and use my pencil to remove it out so that you guys can see it. So after finishing rolling it out, you can now cut. After I done cutting it, I'm going to remove my basic skirt pattern. So before I remove it, I'm going to clean the line that I roll out on it so that I can use the pattern for another thing. So the one that I trace out, I'm going to place it on my half bodice. Make sure it wears smoothly and well relaxed when you are placing it. So after I done placing it, I'm going to cut it out. So the same thing that we do that front, I'm also going to do it to the back also. So from the wrong side, I'm going to place my paper tape and use it to join my skirt pattern to my half bodice pattern. So after I'm done joining it together, I'm going to come down by 5 inches like the way we did at the front. To come down by 5 inches, roll out a straight line. And for the side, come up by 1.5, exactly the way we did at the front. So I use my curve filler to curve it out. And don't forget that there is stitches allowance on the skirt, why it's not on the half length bodies. So that's why you see me taking out my stitch allowance from the skirt. So I'm going to also place my paper underneath, tracing it out. As I was saying, you can trace it out for 5 inches that come down, or from the hip, depending on how you want it to trace it out. So I'm going to cutting it out and remove the back skirts and clean out the lines that I've already drawn on it. So I'm going to placing it. So after placing it, I'm going to use 1.5 for my back opening because we are using eyelets for the back. 1.5 for the neckline and also come down by 1.5. So I'm going to connect the both points together. After done connecting it, this is how the back is going to look and this is the front. So what remains now is to cut. So before I start cutting it, I'm going to use my cuff because I want like a nice cuff from the underbust. You can see the way I place my cuff. I want like nice cuff at the underbust line there. So what remains now is to cut. So guys, this will be the end of today's tutorial. If you enjoy my videos, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Give my video a thumbs up and zoom in notified so whenever I post a new video you will be notified. So guys, see you guys in my next video. I love you guys.